The Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 97 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. This is Junior. To my right is Nick, and to his right is Vince. How are we doing, fellas?
The Connor McDavid of episodes?
Oh, that was easy.
I had to throw it out there before you guys did.
The Kirill Kaprizov.
I like it. 97. 97's all around.
No, got no one.
Vince?
I got no one.
All right. Well, it's good that you're prepared for this episode. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, easy to say after saying McDavid.
Yeah, exactly. Taking these.
Hey, I did a lot of work in order to get McDavid out there. Guys, another episode. We're nearing that 100 mark.
A new division.
A new division that we're going to talk about today. Also, there's going to be an announcement that we're going to give for our 100th episode, most likely. So we'll save that until after the interview. But today, we have a return guest.
Oh, man, I feel stupid now.
You should feel stupid every day.
Jeremy Roenick.
Jeremy Roenick. All right, there you go.
I did not know that.
We have a special guest on today who's coming back again in order to preview the Dallas freaking Stars, who really were this far away, I think, into getting to the finals.
And you know what? When we had him on the last time, he considered the season a failure to a certain extent. So I wonder, after everything is like, he's gotten a few weeks in the summer, if he still feels like it was a failure, and what he thinks the next season looks like. So
I'm very curious to see if he's going to backtrack a little bit on the Matt Duchene talk. So we'll see about that. Let's get Ryan on.
All right,
here.
let's get him on. Anytime. Let's do it. Come on.
No, doesn't want to come on.
All right, so let's do this a cappella.
Oh, I know why he doesn't want to come on. Never mind. Sorry, guys. Someone put him on mute.
That's your Bluetooth, yeah. There we go. He is a two-time guest, a member of the Hockey Podcast Network, as co-host of the Starcastic Remarks podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan!
Man, you guys are making me sound a lot more.
Second time, Ryan.
You guys are making me sound a lot more interesting than I actually am.
Now.
How's it feel living in the tax-free state, right?
Oh, we're gonna bring that up. Hey, I'm ready. Come on.
I had to bring it up. Come on. It's the talk of the northern borders.
And you know what? Hey, come at me with the whole Matt Duchene talk. I ain't backing off on
it. Good. I'm glad. Well, thank you very much for coming on again. Like you coming on here is a big boon to us because you know the ins and out of this team much better than we do. We watch 82 games of a bunch of different teams.
Yeah.
You watch 82 games of this team. So you could really like bring some insight for our listeners for the upcoming season. I know it's a little bit early, but you know what? People are starting to skate again. There's some things going on here.
The weddings are over.
The weddings are starting to be over around the league. So they're coming back to reality here. So can you just let our listeners know where they could find your work, what you're working on lately, and everything about you.
Well, I am the host of Starcastic Remarks, and for those of your listeners who don't know, it's actually me and my two brothers, Chris and James, and out of all of our siblings, there are 7 of us total. So same mom, same dad, and I'm the oldest, and then Chris is number 3, and James is number 4. And between the 3 of us, we bicker about just about everything. And even though we might like yell and scream at each other sometimes when we have a giant disagreement, like whether Liam Bichel is going to be the number 4 defenseman this year, or whatever, something stupid like that. We've argued about corn chips before in our Who Cares segment. We've had a ton of fun with that. But at Starcastic Ours, I'm not joking. Literally anywhere and everywhere, I think you can find us. And we're always during the off season we're doing we're doing it just weekly for right now, about 9:30 Central Time, and we go for about an hour doing whatever, and sometimes it literally is whatever. And then when the season starts to ramp up, we typically do a weekly episode, and it could just be about the Stars. It could be about the biggest, storylines going around the NHL, like whether Ovechkin's is going to be done after the season, stuff like that. We're going to talk about that here soon. And then we do a shorter version that we call AGRs, after game reviews. It's basically post games. And we probably go about 20 to 40 minutes. If it's really good game, 40 minutes. If it's a really bad game, like
10 minutes.
Game 6 or game 5, then maybe it's only like 15 to 20 minutes. But the thing we've been doing this summer that's actually been a lot of fun is we started doing this series called Stars Fan Stories.
I was going to mention that. This is neat.
Yeah, we actually went through, and I kind of put an all call out to our listeners, and like, hey, you want to come on the show? We can talk about how you became a Stars fan, why hockey, and what keeps you around. Why do you continue to follow this team even though it continues to stop at the Western Conference Final or whatever like that? And it's literally been so interesting. We've gotten to talk to people from Finland.
Wow.
And
cool.
like there's like a certain player that I never would have thought of for his name is Jussi, and his connection to the Stars. And it wasn't Jere Lehtinen. A lot of people think that Jere Lehtinen was the one that started the whole Finnish connection with Dallas. It actually wasn't.
Really?
And then I've talked with people from Australia, from Canada, from St. Louis, even, and she's been to Dallas one time, and
Wow.
she made like a blanket of like shirts, and now she gave that blanket to the Joe Pavelski family, so they have a blanket in their possession from her. It was just really cool to get all sorts of stories, and I hadn't done it in like 3 or 4 years. I did it like 3 or 4 years ago. It was so much fun to get a chance to do it, and it's ending this month, and it's probably about once a week on Tuesdays, and it goes live on YouTube at 7:00 Central Time. I've had so much fun with it because off season gets kind of boring after middle of July, so it was a ton of fun to do that. So that's kind of what's going on in our world right now.
That's very fun. That's
Ryan,
very
how
cool.
tell our viewers how not difficult, but because we live in Montreal, so basically for us, hockey is the top echelon. You guys have the Dallas Cowboys, the Mavericks. Like, how tough is it to get those Dallas? Like, is it coming around the Dallas Stars in hockey?
I think it's always been there, to be completely honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot more casual fans than there are hardcore fans. But what's different about all of the other teams in the DFW area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, is that Dallas has a very, I guess you could say, loyal but small group of hardcore fans. And they've always been there. They will always be there. And it's kind of fun, and it's starting to come around a little bit, especially after all the things that have been going on with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons asking for a trade, and Luka's gone, and like the Rangers are flirting with making the playoffs. So I think it's starting to make its way around, especially with all the success they've had. But you kind of have to understand that down here, the Stars are always going to play at best third fiddle, if
right.
that. So they'll always be third, fourth, or fifth fiddle down here.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about these Stars. So just to give the listeners an idea, a rundown of how this is going to work, we're going to do a little quick team overview, roster lineup and breakdown, a goaltending outlook, power play top scorers, over under in point projections or goal projections, prospects to watch, and lastly, some season predictions and hot takes. So to start it off, like we mentioned in our introduction, you kind of thought the last time you were on that the season was a failure. So my question to you is, going into the new season, do you feel like the Dallas Stars are trending upward, or are they trending down from what you considered a failure, or are they somewhere in the middle there, staying a little bit stagnant?
The expectation is still playoffs. So the belief for a lot of fans is that this team is going to take a little step back in terms of quality on the ice. I mean, I don't see how you can't, especially like Mikael Granlund was a huge loss for this team. He fit in so well in numerous different ways. He could play center when you needed him. He was dominant on that top line when he and Hintz and Miko were all together. But that seems to be the feeling, at least from a lot of Stars fans, is that they're going to take a step back. But there are some a smaller group of fans who kind of believe that there could be a possibility of addition by subtraction, if that makes any sense. I mean, because obviously the collection wasn't working the way that it was, and that's kind of why Pete DeBoer lost his job. Yes, the majority of it was probably because of the Jake Ottinger situation, but it was also just the overview of does he have the answers? And I don't think, and I came up with the same conclusion that Jim Nill did, and I didn't believe that he did. So that was the first thing I said after Game 5 against the Edmonton Oilers. I was just like, he's done. He doesn't have the answers, and he needs to go.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think the best way to explain it is that they're just going to stand pat. I'm not predicting them to win the division, but if they are not top 3 in the Central Division, I will be very surprised.
That's very fair. And just to turn it into a fantasy perspective, given the fact that now Rantanen is starting a new full season with the team, there is a new coach. There was some players who left, like Granlund, but that creates space for a guy like maybe Maverick Bourque or whatnot. So, like, from a fantasy perspective, can we still rely on the Dallas Stars players to generate points for us? Is this still going to be a high-scoring team?
Yes, I believe it is. But to be honest with you, and I could see it going either way. I mean, sometimes when you get a brand new coach, it just all clicks right off the bat and everything works perfectly. And it's because, everybody else doesn't really have a playbook on the new coach and the new team and the way they're going to play. And goalie, Glenn Goaltending, is keeping all those cards very close to his chest. He did say that they're going to make some changes, and especially the physicality aspect. He said he's going to ramp it up 1% every single day. He said that in his introduction, press conference as being the head coach. But the thing is that this team is still going to score goals. I mean, that's truly still their identity. You can't, when you've got Miro Heiskanen, who I think he's going to have a bounce back in terms of offense. Thomas Harley kind of came out of the woodworks this past year and kind of proved that he could make that argument for being in the top 30, maybe even top 20 of NHL defensemen. So this team is still going to score a whole bunch of goals, especially you still got Robertson, you still got Wyatt Johnston, you still got Rope Hintz, and there's still a lot of guys on this team that can score a lot of goals.
Yeah, and I think we should get into it right away, right? Like, let's talk about the top 6, because really a lot of the fantasy leagues out there, when you're looking for people that perform and put up big numbers, they're usually in the top 6. So you mentioned Robertson already. There's rumors like Vince mentioned off air of Robertson leaving. I agree completely. But Robertson, Hintz, Rantanen, we kind of spoke about those guys already a little bit. Wyatt Johnson, another year more mature, another year taking another step forward, most likely. You have the return of Matt Duchene, which we kind of teased a little bit there at the beginning. And I'm thinking that the 6th person from that top 6 is going to be Seguin, but you might see Maverick Bourque, you might see Jamie Benn. How do you see it, Ryan? Like, you watch this team day in and day out. How do you see this top 6 shaping up?
Well, the 2 biggest questions for, at least for me and Chris and James, the 3 of us, is who is that number 6 in your top 6, and then who is that number 4 in your defensive core. And we've talked about I think the 5 that we've kind of solidified. You got Hintz, obviously, Rantanen, Robertson. Mm-hmm. And then I actually have Seguin solidified in that top 6 because he plays so well with Matt Duchene. If you take him away from Duchene, I don't think it does any favors for either one of them. So I think that those 2 guys are kind of glued together. The problem is who's going to be on that left-hand side on that second line. And I mean, there's all sorts of puzzling questions when it comes to that. And the three that keep popping out is the one that makes the most sense is Wyatt Johnston, right? He scored 70 points this past year. He's consistently, getting even more and more ice time. I think he led the Stars in average time on ice for forwards this year. And it just because he plays in every situation, and he's a quote unquote third line center. That's how much he was playing. So, and that's been the biggest thing is this: if you take him away from that third line center, then that really hurts your center depth. And the way that it is with, as much as I was not wanting Duchesne to come back, it's still a good top three in terms of center with Hintz, Duchesne, and Johnston. But if you take him and put him on that left side, yeah, it kind of solidifies your top six. But then your bottom six, I don't expect much scoring from them.
Right.
So the idea is probably that one of two guys are going to step up in that role, and one of them is Sam Steele. And that's someone that Glenn Goaltending himself kind of talked about, trying him out on that second line. And then the other one that's way more intriguing and it's got a lot of talk about is Maverick Bourque. So, I mean, from a fantasy perspective, like either one of those guys, if you're in the late rounds or whatever, and you're looking for someone who might pop off a little bit, either one of those guys would be my best bet, because the other guys are kind of be expected. Sagan, Duchesne. Yeah, Duchesne led the team in scoring in the regular season. Obviously, Rantanen. But, could Sam Steele score 20 goals? I mean, yeah, not by himself. But if he's playing in the top six with Duchesne and Sagan, and he finds some chemistry, and he just kind of stands there in the right spot at the right time, and he just happens to crash the net, then I could see him getting 20 goals. I'm not saying it's likely, but it could definitely be a possibility if he does end up playing on that second line.
We should have started our previews with the Dallas Stars. I dropped Sam Steele in one of our dynasty leagues.
This is why you don't run our leagues. Ryan, there was another interesting thing that you said there, and that's standing in front of the net, bashing, hitting, making some room for those other players, right? Can you tell me what your thoughts are on Jamie Benn? Because we're part of a league with Dobber Prospects or Dobber Prospect Report League. Yeah. And I was targeting Jamie Benn as somebody that I wanted on my league because I needed hits on my team and it was a hits league. But does Jamie Benn have a chance to hit that second line? I mean, he's on a team-friendly deal here.
Team-friendly? He's more than team-friendly. He's a deal.
Yeah, it was a great re-sign, right? Yeah. At least we think so. I mean, you could tell us otherwise, but
yeah, and also Elliot Freeman on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, I think before they went on break, he kind of mentioned how maybe they were going to limit his minutes, maybe not play him every game so that he could be fresh for the playoffs. Is that something you foresee happening, or is that just like he won't let it happen?
He won't let it happen, to be honest with
figured.
you. What a lot of people discounted, including myself, to be completely honest with you, is how much Jamie Benn means to this team. It doesn't matter if he's playing in a top six role or in a bottom six role. He means a lot more. And there's a lot of things that go on that I bet go on that never get talked about because he's just that type of player. He is very much lead by example, and he keeps it in the locker room, and he doesn't really talk very much with the media, right? And you know what? I respect him for that, because that's, keeping the cards close to the chest. That's very happens a lot in the Stars organization. But in terms of him getting on the second line, there has not been a whole lot of talk about that. To be completely honest with you, could it happen? Yeah, absolutely, it could happen. But the Sagan and Ben magic ended a long time ago, and Sagan's not even playing center anymore. He's better on the right hand side just because of his hip injuries. He's still a very effective player. I mean, he was a point per game player until he had his surgery. But if he is playing on that second line, then and none of the other players have worked out, then the Stars are in a lot of trouble, in my opinion, if that's the case. Because I know he scored 16 goals this past year, but his role has I don't want to say quickly, but it has diminished over the last two seasons. He was playing like 17 minutes about 2 years ago. He was down to 15:45 or somewhere close to that. And it just keeps getting lower. So out of necessity, maybe that he gets on that second line. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good information, though. Good information, because like we've seen his minutes drop, but we weren't really sure if that's injury related or if it's more age and taking a step back. So that's great. That's good to know. You mentioned before Heiskanen and you mentioned Harley. Now, everybody knows these are the two most fantasy relevant defensemen when it comes to points only leagues on the Dallas Stars. And God, I don't even know which one is better, to be honest with you, sometimes when it comes to points. So how do you see the top four pairing or the top two pairings, I mean, for defensemen shaping out? And can we expect another great season by Harley? Has he taken over that power play one spot? What do you kind of see there going on the defense?
For the power play, I'll start with that. I think both guys are going to have a very short leash if the other is not producing. If I'm being totally honest, it's just because Miro Heiskanen is so good. I mean, he is so underrated in terms of the other stuff that he does off of the ice. And like we've been debating this all off season, the fact, well, if you let Harley play power play 1 and Miro plays power play 2, then he doesn't have to be relied upon for all those points. And he's just so effective in his own zone, and he's one of the few guys that can keep up with the Nathan McKinnons of the world, the Connor McDavids, the Leon Draisaitl's. Like he's one of those few defensemen that can. I don't even think Harley can keep up with those guys, to be completely honest with you.
Right.
In terms of how the decor is looking up, it is the most interesting conversation for me, other than the number 6 guy in your top 6, because the way it's going to start off is it's Bush's spot, Ilya Lyubushkin. He is going to start off as the number 4. A lot of people kind of got onto him, and he was out there in trade rumors just because he's being asked to play a role that he shouldn't be, right? Very similar to like Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse has a ridiculous cap hit, and everyone talks about how bad he is. He's not a bad defenseman. It's just that $9.5 million cap hit is just not worth what he does. Right. But it's the opposite with Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin's only getting 3.75, and he's being asked to play a top 4 role. And it's just he gives the Stars great value on that particular deal. Now, the thing that I would like to see is Nils Lundkvist is someone that he just had a ton of bad luck. He's been with his team. I think he's going on to his 4th year now, if I remember correctly, this upcoming season. And Nil keeps bringing him back. He's the first player that Jim Nil ever gave up a first-round pick for. And he keeps bringing him back on these 1-year deals, and he still believes in him. And he's still young. I think he's 24, 25. So it's not like he's, in the prime of his career yet, but he's getting close. And last year he was playing so stinking well. And a lot of people forget, even Stars fans, like early in the season, before he was pulled off and said, no, you're done for the season, he was playing in a top 4 role with Esa Lindell. It was Miro Heiskanen and Harley, and then Esa Lindell and Nils Lundkvist. And yeah, the points were absolutely 100% not there, but defensively he looked very solid. And like all 3 of us, me, Chris, and James, were just like, finally, he's starting to figure it out, and he's playing so stinking well. And we were like cheering him on and being his cheerleaders on the sideline. And then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I don't even know if he's coming back. And then when he signed the contract to come back for basically the same cap hit, I was overjoyed, because that is low key another, and he's right-handed on top of that, which helps. And so seriously, that could be an undervalued pick. And then obviously the one that Chris likes to rave about, because he's down in Austin watching the Texas Stars all the time, is Liam Bichsel. And I mean, Liam, yeah, it would suck having 4 guys that are all left-handed in your top 4. But if you got to do what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. And like Esa Lindell played on the right side out of necessity at the Four Nations Cup, so he's had some experience doing that. I mean, Miro Heiskanen, that seems to be like his side now, is on the right side. We've kind of given up that hope that he's going to play on the left side on his strong side. But so it's a very interesting conversation for the Stars because they don't really have a number 4 right now. The presumed one is Ilya Lyubushkin, and either Liam Bichsel or Nils Lundqvist can jump into that spot. And if either one of those guys hits, then man, do I like the decor a lot better than I did last year because they just didn't seem to have an answer, and they were relying upon Matt Dumba to play and as your number 2, not really number 2, but play next to Miro Heiskanen on that top pairing.
Thank you, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
and Cal
yeah,
Dubas.
exactly. So it is a very fascinating conversation when it comes to the decor for the Dallas Stars.
Ryan, goaltenders. I mean, I don't think there's much questions about your number 1 goaltender. It's Jake Ottinger. But now there was that whole issue with DeBoer. Casey DeSmith as a backup did really well. I mean, if you look at the numbers, 58 games played for Ottinger, 36 wins, .909 save percentage. Casey DeSmith, 14 wins in 24 games played, 915 save percentage. Goals against average, they were both at 259. I mean, there's no question here that Jake Ottinger is the number 1 guy, but do you see him playing the same amount of games, around 58 to 60, or are they going to try to push it to a bit more?
Believe it or not, I'm actually going to say he's probably going to play 50 to 55.
Okay.
And I know that's not like a huge difference, but that is something that Glenn Golitzin came in, and that was, again, he was asked so many questions, but he mentioned that, Jay Ottinger maybe is getting a little bit overplayed. I don't think he's getting overtaxed too much, but the last 3 years he has kind of faded off a little bit in the playoffs. And I think some of that had to do with the amount he was playing. I don't think it was a lot, but I think more importantly, it's the system that he was, having to be behind it defensively in our own zone. And there was a lot of east-west movement, and goalies, at least from what I understand, absolutely hate that. It's so much easier to have north-south, and yeah, you kind of, maybe there's a little bit more speed coming at you, but there's not so much lateral movement. Lateral movement is when you have to sit there and turn your head and try to figure out where the puck is. And then, so I think that's something that's going to be different about the Stars game this upcoming season is the way the whole man-to-man situation was not working at all. And Craig Ludwig, who is a, great guy. He hosts a podcast down here in DFW with a couple of other guys as well. But he was constantly just berating the Stars about their man-to-man coverage because the Oilers exposed them 100% in their own zone because of the man-to-man coverage. It was flat out terrible, and it made it hard for Otter to find those things. So long story short, I think the systems in place are going to help Ottinger. I think we're going to see an increase to his save percentage a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to get to 930 or something like that, but it's got to be better than what it was. And then I do see Casey DeSmith playing a couple more games, and it's just out of necessity too, because the schedule is what the schedule is. I mean, they've got the Olympics this year. It's 2.5 week break. I think the Stars have like 12 or 13 back-to-backs this year, which is higher than normal, but every team is higher than normal just because, again, the Olympics.
I think some teams have 16 or back-to-back.
Yeah, they have to have the most back-to-back games.
Yep. Yeah, so it's just to be expected that I think we're going to see a little bit more of Casey DeSmith this year for the Stars.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to Bombas.com and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO at checkout.
Yeah, like you were saying, Ottinger in three seasons has played, including playoffs, 230 games. So it's about 76 games a season with the playoffs. So it's a lot of games for a goaltender.
Can you foresee maybe an increase? Like, he doesn't seem to be a big shutout guy. Do you think a new system, if they don't do man coverage, maybe it helps that? Or...
Shutouts only happen if Tortorella is your coach. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're blocking shots left and right.
Except for when he was coaching in Philly.
Yeah. Sorry,
Didn't
side
help those
tangent,
goalies.
Philadelphia
Nothing
had no
helps those.
goaltending.
No, exactly.
Like Philadelphia looks like Dan Vladar is going to be their starting goalie. I think he is
Can
their
you
best
believe
option.
that?
To be honest with you.
Wow.
Anyways, to be honest with you, I don't really know. It's always a joke that Ottinger plays so stinking well, and they could be winning the game 4-0, 5-0, whatever, and then all of a sudden, within like the last 2 minutes, they give up a goal, and it's just like I'm sure like lots of teams have things like this, or like, well, of course, my team gives up a goal and he doesn't get the shutout, and at the end of the day, he doesn't really care. So, maybe I don't know because I don't know the system exactly, but could it? Absolutely, yes.
It's just if they're going to be a very high-powered offensive team, it's very rare that your goalies will get more shutouts just because you score so many goals at the end of the day. You're letting go at one point, or you're backing
if you're taking
off.
some risks to get the goals,
exactly.
maybe.
So because I see Dallas as a high-power scoring team this year. Like
it all depends on the system. So
Yeah.
Gulletson comes in, he's going to change things up. It's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays, because
Listen,
you could have a good offensive system and still have a sound defensive system at the same time.
Better not go with the Carolina Hurricane system because Rantanen's going to want out.
Okay, well, speaking of Rantanen, now that I would say it's fair to say he's acclimated to the new environment. The Dallas Stars were 17th in the league in power play percentage last year with 22.
Not even close this year. They're going to be top 5 for sure.
So do you see now, obviously there's a new coach. I'm assuming he brought in his own assistants. Can you confirm that? Or
actually, no.
No. Okay.
Actually, no, they did. He did not. So I think the way that Jim Nill went about it was probably the right way. So they lost a lot of their coaches. They did. Steve Spott went off to Boston. Now he's an assistant in Boston. Oh my goodness. Russian guy, Minskov. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I can't remember. Yeah, one of y'all look it up. Help me out. He's got a position with Hockey Canada now. I know that for sure. Donskov. That's who it was.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, but they have brought in they did keep Elaine Nazardine, so former head coach. He did really well with the D, despite all the issues that they had man on man. But I don't think that was by his choice. I think that was by Pete DeBoer's system. Pete DeBoer wanted him to play the system, so he did. But they did bring in someone really interesting. Actually, I thought he was going to be the true next head coach of the Dallas Stars, but it's Neil Graham. And Neil Graham is a guy that he was just like everybody, most coaches, they kind of come up through the system and they're a player for a little while, and then they figure out, well, I don't really have much of a future as a player, but as a coach, maybe there's a lot for me going. And very early on, I think in his late 20s, he started coaching at the ECHL level, and he started with the Idaho Steelheads, which is the affiliate for the Stars. And then he moved up to the Texas Stars, the AHL, and he was a good. He's been there for a very long time, and he's been with the organization for a very long time, just not in Dallas. And the worry with, I bet you with Jim Nill, is that if he didn't promote Neil Graham to a position up in the Stars organization, whether it was the head coach or as the quote unquote power play / forward coach, that he was going to lose him and he was going to go somewhere else if he wasn't given that opportunity. So he comes in as the second in command behind Glenn Goaltending, so I know I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent. Sorry, but
no, don't worry about it.
But with what Glenn Goaltending said in his press conference is that he is looking at it as much more of a collaborative effort, which for Stars fans is kind of nice, because it was with Pete DeBoer. It's kind of this is the way I know that this works. I've done it. I've been successful with it. We're gonna run with this. And he was kind of stubborn to kind of change his ways if once he had an idea in his head, and that's something that lots of beat writers and other members of the media noticed. So it was kind of interesting to see that, there was going to be more of a collaborative effort with all of these guys.
Okay, so I just have one question, and then we can move on from the power play. I think it's safe to say that Wyatt Johnson, Rupe Hintz, Rantanen, Duchesne are probably the 4 forwards on that first unit. And then is it Harley or is it Heiskanen?
I would bet it starts with Harley. That would be my guess.
Oh, that could be fancy relative.
Well, yeah, because I mean, down the stretch, even when Heiskanen did come back from his injury, Harley was still the guy on the power play. And I mean, until he was doing so good, I don't think they could have possibly taken him out, right?
It's like a plethora of options.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's amazing
wild.
that Dallas
They have
has
two
so
number
much
one. They have
firepower. It's
potentially
amazing.
2 number 1 defensemen.
Yeah,
it's wild stuff.
yeah.
We've had
gonna
that
be good.
conversation. We've had that conversation a lot lately, that whether who's the number 1. And then in terms of the power play, actually, they were the worst power play at home. I mean, it was below 10% for a good majority of the season. It was that bad. And it wasn't until, and I hate to say this, until Miro got hurt and they were kind of finally forced to put Harley as on the power play because he wasn't given that opportunity very much. That's when the power play started getting better. So
Yeah. Shares of Harley went up skyrocketing when that happens. That's for sure. In fantasy, at least. All right. So let's go with some fun stuff here. We're going to start with some over and unders to give our fantasy listeners some insight on what you think is going to happen this year. And if you're wrong, it's on you, not on us. So we're okay with it.
This is why we do the segment.
This is why we have guests.
Zero
So people can stop yelling at us. All right, Ryan. All jokes aside here, what do you think Rantanen is going to do this year? So I have an over-under of 89.5 points. Is he going to be a 90-point player, or is he going to be under that, basically, in your eyes?
I'll go a little bit hot take-ish. He's going to get over 100 this year.
Wow. So Colorado numbers. I like that.
love it.
I like that.
I'm like that. Yeah.
I love it.
I'll take that.
Yes. All right, good. So Wyatt Johnson, this is goals now. 34.5 goals for Wyatt Johnson.
Ooh, that's a tough number.
He got 33 last year in 82 games.
Got 33 last year. That's
But very quiet 33, by the way.
what a player, man. What a player.
So he's played in 3 years. 24 the first year, 32 his second year, and 33 his third year. 82 games, by the way, all 3.
Yep. I'll go ahead and say just barely over. I don't think he quite gets to 40, but especially if he plays on that second line, he's going to get 37, 38 goals.
Nice.
That's very interesting.
I cry as a Habs fan. We have none of this. We don't have this.
Well,
It's building.
They're
It's
young.
building.
They're young.
Maybe.
All right, Maverick Bourque, 35.5 points.
Oh, over. Easy. Way over.
Excellent.
The history tends to repeat itself. So I think what's going to happen is so if you look at his career, first year in the AHL, his professional career, it was tough for him to be completely honest. And then his second year, he dominated the AHL. I think he got AHL MVP along with he and Logan Stankoven ripped him as a Stars player, but like they just went off. And then this past year, he wasn't as bad as he was in his first year in the AHL, but I think there was a lot of expectations for him coming in, and maybe they were a little overhyped. So I think he had a good rookie season. But at the end of the day, he was scratched a majority of the playoffs. So, but in order for this team, especially when you lose Mason Marchment and you lose like Granlund, like I mentioned, he's going to be looked at to kind of step up. And I mean, I really think that 40 points is probably the lowest that this year that he gets. Like if he can get to 50,
higher.
that'd be great.
I wanted to go higher because I knew how he felt about him,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to keep realistic based off his
But people,
performance last
he's
year.
just he's just 23 years old. I mean, it seems like we've been talking about Maverick Book and waiting for him to break out for the past 3-4 years, right? That we've heard his name in the system, in the Dallas system. So
and you know why? It's even because Victor Nuno, who's been on our show, also really liked Maverick Bourque as a dark horse for the Calder.
That's right.
So, I mean, a lot of people were talking about him. Maybe it's just a matter of time. New coach, new life.
Absolutely. All right. Jason Robertson. So a little bit of an enigma sometimes.
Mr. Consistent.
He's a consistent point getter. Absolutely. 82.5 points. Ryan, Robertson is going over or under?
Way over. Yeah. Way over.
Love it.
Yeah,
because
Rantanen, you add Rantanen, man, he makes that whole line like so much better.
Yeah, and I don't I don't want to ruin another question you're gonna ask me, so I'll save it for that question. But I think that he is consistently a point per game player. But I think that he's going to be higher this year because the beginning of this past season, he was coming off an injury. He had never had an injury like this before in his professional career, at least. And he obviously didn't get he didn't get to play for the Four Nations USA team. And he definitely took that to heart because literally right after they released the rosters, he just went completely off. And he still was able to end with around a point per game for the Stars this past season. So I think he's going to take offense to that. And he's going to tell this Olympic committee for Team USA is like, no, you're going to put me on the roster.
Yeah, I love it. Brian, I have 3 more. Are you good with that?
Sure, go for it.
All right. We just spoke about them. Thomas Harley, 50.5 points. Over or under?
Just barely over. I think it's going to be around the same amount. And I think if he's given the full season and he's able to be consistent, I could see him getting to like the 60-point mark. I don't think he's going to be like, Cale Makar, Quinn Hugh levels in terms of points, but could he get to 60? Yeah, I could see it, but I wouldn't be disappointed either way. But my guess, just barely over.
Yeah, well, look, we went through the NHL stats last episode on defensemen only, points-wise. And I think if you're like at 55 points, you were top 10 in the league for defensemen. So it's, I think Harley's probably there. If he gets power play time especially, I think you're absolutely right. Miro Heiskanen, what do we think about him? So 44.5 points. A little bit lower projection, over or under this year?
I'm going to say a little bit under. And I'm doing that based off of my prediction that Harley is going to play more on the power play. And Miro, he had the 170-point season where he set the record in terms of Stars. I think, well, I don't remember if it was the entire franchise or just in Dallas Stars history, but he eclipsed that record that was originally set by Sergei Zubov. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think that was an outlier year. And that's not to say that he's a bad defenseman. It's just, he's just so good defensively that he focuses on that aspect of the game a little more. And I mean, you don't need him to. If you've got Harley, and I mean, you could easily look, and like I mentioned, when Miro got hurt and Harley jumped into the power play immediately got better. So that's not a coincidence. So that's why I'm saying under for Miro.
All right, last one, and this is my favorite. Coming off a $4.5 million contract, Matt Duchene, 71.5 points. Over or under this year?
That's a big number.
That's a big number? Yeah. The guy had point per game last year.
Yeah, he was 82 for 82 last year.
82 for 82.
It's a big number.
71.5. That's the line.
And yet 65 the year before in 80 games. So
that's a tough one. I'm gonna say under, but again, I'm kind of cheating a little bit. I'm just gonna say just barely under, because I think that he, especially early on in the season, his line of him, Sagan, and Marchment were one of the best lines in the NHL early on in the season, which is why he got to 82 points this year. It was crazy hot at the beginning, and then he kind of was just more consistent for the rest of the season. So I'll just say just barely under, and I'll cheat again a little bit.
Listen, $4.5 million player. You get 70 points. or close to 70 points as a $4.5 million player, you're in the money.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good value
Absolutely.
all around. All right, that does it for our over-under. That was the funnest segment there is. We could close the podcast now. And
Can't wait for his bold take. I feel
Yeah.
his bold take.
No, boy.
I feel it.
But before the bold takes,
yeah,
Vince.
before the
wait.
bold takes, we're gonna go just prospect wise, Ryan. What do you like? Over here, the number one prospect, I have Liam Bishel, who's already on the team. Emil Hemmings, Artem Martino, Cameron Schmidt. What can you tell us about the prospect pool? I mean, Dallas is in a win now mode, so it's very hard for a team to have like prospects in a pipeline, seeing that they usually trade those off to make their teams better during the playoffs. So, who's catching your eye in that prospect pool?
So like you mentioned, the Stars are in a very interesting situation, and the fact that they, especially with the Rantanen deal, they really don't have a ton of draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
So what you kind of have to use is you have to look at, especially NCAA, and look at NCAA and try and get free agents off of that who maybe might not were drafted, or maybe their drafted team didn't give them a qualifying offer and then just went off or whatever, kind of like Isaac Howard in a way.
Yeah. Adam Fox.
Or Adam Fox, yeah, that's another one too. But in terms for the Stars, there's a couple of players, but again, not to the same caliber as a Liam Bishel or a Wyatt Johnston or anything like that. There's nothing that the Stars have, at least that I see. But if you're looking at three players in particular, three that popped into my head, Justin Ritzkovian, and that's how you pronounce his name. It starts with an H, but you start it with an R.
Nice.
His nickname is Ritzy.
Okay.
And Ritzkovian, he went off this year. He was a big reason why the Texas Stars made it to the Western Conference Final in the AHL. And then the other guy on the other side is also Artu Huru, and that is a player that was pushed towards Jim Nell by Yeri Lettinen. So he's Finnish. He's very defensively responsible. He's not going to put up a ton of points in the NHL if he is able to get up to the NHL level, but in the AHL he did this past season. So those two guys definitely were very good for the Texas Stars. And then one defenseman that kind of popped off to me, and Chris, my brother, since he does live in Austin, he actually goes and watches the Texas Stars games on a regular basis. And towards the end of the season, they signed a guy named Trey Taylor. And is another really interesting defenseman. He said that he really liked the way that he moved. He could get a ton of ice time this year, especially because Liam Bishel is not going back to the AHL. He's kind of solidified his spot, I think, in the NHL. So
absolutely.
he is going to be playing a ton with Petrovic, who played for the Dallas Stars in the playoffs, on that top pairing for the Texas Stars. So in terms of prospects, those are three guys that, I mean, Trey Taylor maybe could be a bottom pairing defenseman in the NHL. The other two guys maybe gets up to like a middle six role. Definitely probably around a third line, second line in a pinch if you need them to when they start to get there. But that's about where the Stars at are in terms of their prospect pool.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw a name out there because you mentioned him already. There's a couple of names actually, but I'll mention one. So Emil Hemming. There's a lot of upside when it comes to Emil Hemming, when it comes to fantasy points, right? Well, goals, assists, whatever. He's not close, or he's not going to be available this year. But I did see some stuff on DallasStars.com, the official Dallas Stars website, where they were, promoting him, and he was speaking to the media at development camp. What do you think about Emil Hemming possibility? Is he this year possibly coming out of camp, next year, a couple of years down? And I'm just curious about this player overall.
With Emil, he had a really rough year. And this is just from what I have been told from others who have actually watched him. He just had a rough year. He didn't really take a giant step like the expectation was for him. So it's for sure. I don't even think it's 2 years, to be completely honest with you. I know he's a first round pick.
Yeah.
But maybe at best 3 years, at least right now. I mean, again, he could completely pop off this season, and then he's in the AHL top line and could get called up, and if injuries happen, even not next year, but the year after. But I don't see it, to be completely honest with you, with Emil Hemming.
And I'll just mention that that's very good information. It's a nice yellow flag for some of the fans, especially in dynasty leagues that are looking at this player. You guys drafted one of my favorite players, Cameron Schmid, this year in the second round.
Oh, yes.
So I can't wait to see what he develops. Hopefully, we're going to have you back on this podcast soon and just talk about Cameron Schmid.
It's funny because he was like off the radar, and then as we were doing research for our draft episode and our prospect rankings, like we kept seeing him pop up in these top 5 categories from elite prospects, and we're like, this kid is something. And then obviously, lo and behold, who drafts him? It's always either Carolina or Dallas, and it was Dallas.
But it just goes to show you, like Jim Nill, his scouting staff, everybody in that organization, they draft so well. Yeah. It's unbelievable how well they draft, and it goes to show you why they become such a good team and why they've been such a good team for a while now. Your drafting is amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like personal vendetta against other teams who, for the reason why he wasn't drafted, obviously because of his size. But I got the chance to watch him at development camp, and in terms of value for what the Stars had, they had a 3rd round pick. I mean, that was their top pick this year, and it was Cameron Schmid. Yeah. So
I mentioned second day pick, but you're right. It was a 3rd rounder. I said 2nd rounder. That's my mistake.
No, that's okay. But I mean, second day, but I mean, same difference, right? But like it's just such a good value pick for a guy that you could see jumping up, and everyone said the same thing about Stankoven. Like, he very high character. He was got multiple awards when he was in the WHL playing with Kamloops, and just the fact that they were able to go out and get what everyone is calling Logan Stankoven 2.0, basically, with this player. I know he's very different in terms of how he goes about his game and stuff, and his motor and all that stuff. But it's especially the size. The size is very comparable between Logan Stankoven and Cameron. So I'm really excited to see what he does.
Ooh, bold prediction.
Okay, so we already know. Like, you kind of already mentioned that you kind of see the Dallas Stars maybe not winning the division, but finishing 2nd or 3rd. So, I mean, do you want to add anything to that, or do we jump straight to the bold prediction?
We just actually, I was talking about this with you guys off air right before we started, but I think I had, I can't even remember at this point. We did our way too early season predictions, and I think I put the Stars at 2nd or 3rd. So I can't remember which one it was. I think we're just destined to just play the Colorado Avalanche every single year in the first round. I think that's just where it is.
I'm not tired of it yet. I enjoy it.
We're good with that.
Hey,
fun hockey,
Colorado Avalanche fans are tired of it because we keep beating them. But like, man, it is such a tough series every time we play them. Like, and that's why some teams are getting overlooked. Like, sorry, random tangent, but like Colorado and Tampa on both sides of the aisle, and in terms of the conference, like, they lost to really good teams in the first round, and everyone's like, oh, well, they're gonna drop, and they're gonna, like, some people had Tampa Bay getting like 5th in the division in their respective division. I was just like, there's absolutely no way. No, there's not a chance. So
Tampa is winning that division, like
winning the division.
That easily. Tampa is just
okay. We're gonna talk about that another episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day. I'm just pulling out bags of worms and everything. So.
All right, bold take, Ryan. I have a feeling it's about Jason Robertson, but hey, I don't know. What's your bold take here?
Well, I got a couple, but I think the most interesting one, and again, it's a bold take, it's a hot take, so I don't know if it's actually going to happen. But I'm going to say both Jason Robertson and Mikko Rantanen get over 100 points this year.
Whoa!
I got something. So, Ryan, I'm going to bring you back to the past, okay? Because I knew this was your bold prediction. The last time, the Dallas Stars, or their affiliate, which was the Minnesota North Stars, was in 1981 and 1982, where you had Dino Ciccarelli and Bobby Smith that got 106 points and 114 points. It's the only year where that organization had 2 players with 100 points.
Well, it's going to be broken again.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
It has a fabulous chance. I'm not saying no.
Weren't you born in 82?
Of course.
At our Chambers 1993.
Come at me,
I like
bro.
it.
I'm ready.
All right, you said you had a couple more for us.
I think the other one, it's not as bold, but I think that Nils Lundqvist is going to end up being the number 4 defenseman for the Dallas Stars by the end of the year.
Nice.
That was going to be the other one I was going to say. And then I guess the other bold prediction I was going to make was with Maverick Bork. I think he gets over 65 points this year. That was the other bold.
Wow. I mean,
I
if
think
he
he's
gets
going
the
to
opportunity, if he gets the deployment.
Right, exactly. I think he is the answer for the Dallas Stars on that left wing side, even though he hasn't really played it that much, because I think the Stars are really, really, really going to want to keep Wyatt Johnston as that third line center. But we'll see.
Well, Ryan, this has been a lot of fun. And I love having you on this podcast. It's so much insight. It's so much fun. Thank you very much for doing this. Do you mind recapping one last time where people could find your work? And we're going to start the outro, if the producer pays attention.
I'm looking. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ryan.
here we go.
Here we go.
So at Starcastic R, anywhere and everywhere across social media, that's what it is. On YouTube, we go live every Wednesday night, 9:30 Central Time. If you want to come and check us out, we normally go about an hour. It sometimes gets a little bit crazy, but that's okay. We've got the Stars fan stories thing going throughout the month of August. So it's on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time is when that will go live, and then it goes live on the podcast side the following morning. So lots of things going on, and we're really excited for this season. So I just hope they finally get it, but I really think they are at this point where it's cup or bust.
Yeah.
I think it's time Edmonton and Colorado face off in the first round. Give Dallas a break.
Crazy
Colorado
is
can be the
good.
wild card.
Crazy is good unless you bring her home. Then no.
Guys, give Ryan a thumbs up, like and subscribe to his work. Give us a thumbs up as well if you like our stuff here, and follow along wherever you could find and listen to your podcasts.
Yes. Thanks again, Ryan. Have a good night.
Yep, no
Peace
problem,
out.
guys. Thank you all so much for having me on.
Thank you.